Let's pause for a moment and ask a simple question. What if the very act of eating could help you burn calories without lifting a single dumbbell or stepping foot on a treadmill? That's not a fantasy. That's the science of protein. Unlike carbohydrates or fats, protein requires significantly more energy for your body to break it down, absorb it, and put it to work. This phenomenon is called the thermic effect of food, and protein is the king of this effect. Imagine your body as a furnace. When you eat protein, it's like throwing in logs that take more energy to catch fire. The process itself burns extra calories quietly and continuously in the background of your daily life. Now think about how powerful that is. For years, people have been told the only way to slim down is to exercise harder, longer, faster. And exercise is essential for overall health. Don't get me wrong, but if you're struggling with time, if you're battling fatigue, or if you simply can't fit a workout into every day of your life, protein gives you a backdoor entry into the weight loss process. It transforms every meal into a metabolic event. Instead of guilt or restriction, you begin to see food as an ally, a partner in sculpting a leaner, healthier body. Let's go a little deeper. Protein doesn't just burn calories through digestion. It also stabilizes your blood sugar, preventing the wild spikes and crashes that come from carb-heavy meals. Those crashes are often the silent saboteurs of weight loss. You've felt it before. You eat something sweet or starchy, your energy soars for an hour, and then you plummet into brain fog and cravings. Protein keeps that roller coaster in check. By demanding more energy to process, it slows the release of sugar into your bloodstream, keeping your energy steady and your metabolism humming. Here's the fascinating psychological twist. When people eat more protein, they don't just burn more calories biologically, they also change the way they think about food. Suddenly, the body is satisfied. The mind quiets down. The nagging urge to snack endlessly, to reach for something salty or sugary begins to fade. And that shift is profound. Because weight loss isn't just about physiology. It's about the daily tug of war between willpower and desire. Protein lightens that load, making it easier to make the right choices without constant struggle. But there's something even more philosophical here. We often view food as the enemy when we want to lose weight. Diet culture teaches us to fear it, to measure it, to punish ourselves for consuming it. Protein flips that script. It says, you don't have to count every calorie. You don't have to starve. You don't have to obsess. You can nourish yourself, enjoy your meals, and let your body do the work it was designed to do. Isn't that liberating? To know that nature built a system inside you that rewards nourishment rather than deprivation. Think of how this redefines your relationship with eating. Instead of approaching food with dread, you begin to see it as medicine, as fuel, as a tool for transformation. When you choose protein-rich foods, eggs, beans, fish, chicken, lentils, nuts, you're not just filling your stomach, you're flipping switches in your metabolism, creating ripple effects that last for hours after the meal ends. In that sense, every bite becomes an investment, not just a momentary pleasure. And here's the truth we need to embrace. Slimming down doesn't always require more sweat. Sometimes it requires more wisdom. Exercise is a blessing, but it is not the only road to fat loss. Your body already has an incredible mechanism for burning calories built into its very design, and protein is the master key to unlocking it. By harnessing the metabolic advantage of protein, you allow your body to quietly, persistently, and naturally chip away at excess fat while you live your normal life. So the next time you sit down for a meal, I want you to pause and ask yourself, is this food going to work for me or against me? Will it fuel me, sustain me, and burn energy in the process? Or will it leave me hungrier, more sluggish, and more frustrated an hour later? That simple awareness is the bridge between staying stuck and moving forward. And if you carry just one idea from this, let it be this. Protein is not a punishment, it's a privilege. It's your body's way of reminding you that the path to a slimmer, healthier self isn't built on deprivation, it's built on nourishment. Each choice you make can either dim your energy or ignite your metabolism. Choose to ignite it. When we talk about weight loss, most people imagine endless hunger, knowing cravings, and the constant battle between what you want and what you know you should do. That battle drains more than just willpower. It drains your spirit. Now, what if there were a way to quiet that inner noise, to feel satisfied without overeating, to stop the cravings before they even begin? That's exactly what protein does. It acts as nature's appetite regulator, reshaping not just how much you eat, but how you feel about food altogether. Here's the science behind it. When you eat protein, your body releases hormones like peptide YY and GLP-1, signals that travel to your brain and say, you've had enough. Compare that to a sugary snack. It might give you a temporary rush, but within an hour, the crash comes, and with it, a new wave of hunger. Protein, on the other hand, stretches out that feeling of fullness. It's not about eating more, it's about feeling satisfied with less. And when your body is nourished in this way, your mind finally has the freedom to focus on things beyond food. But let's step back and look at the psychological depth here. Hunger is not just a physical sensation, it's an emotional force. Cravings often show up when we're tired, stressed, or simply seeking comfort. Food becomes a band-aid for emotions. Yet, when you consistently fuel your body with protein, you create stability, physically and emotionally. Your blood sugar doesn't spike and crash, your energy doesn't swing wildly, and your mood doesn't collapse under the weight of low fuel. That stability becomes a form of freedom. You're no longer pulled around by every craving, every temptation, every commercial flashing a picture of pizza or dessert. There's a philosophical layer too. Think about how much of modern dieting is built on denial. You're told to resist, to restrict, to constantly hold yourself back. But resistance is exhausting. Nobody can resist forever. Sooner or later, the dam breaks and you binge, not because you lack discipline, but because the system you were given was flawed from the start. Protein changes that dynamic. Instead of fighting against hunger, you align with it. Instead of suppressing your natural drive to eat, you redirect it toward foods that genuinely serve you. It's not about denial, it's about direction. That's a far more sustainable path. Consider how this plays out in everyday life. Imagine starting your morning with a protein-rich breakfast, eggs, Greek yogurt, maybe some beans or lentils if you prefer plant-based options. By mid-morning, you're still steady, focused, and energized. Contrast that with a sugary breakfast, cereal, or pastry. The first gives you clarity and calm. The second sets you up for cravings by 10 m. Multiply those daily choices by weeks and months, and the difference is dramatic. One path leads to natural, almost effortless weight loss. The other traps you in a cycle of hunger and frustration. There's also an empowering shift in identity that happens when you eat this way. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who's constantly at war with food, you start to view yourself as someone who makes wise, nourishing choices. That shift is psychological gold, because the way you see yourself determines the way you act. If you view yourself as undisciplined, you'll act undisciplined. But if you see yourself as someone aligned with your body's natural rhythms, you act in harmony with them. Protein supports that identity shift because it provides both the fuel and the feedback your brain needs to believe. I'm in control. This is where the elegance of nature really shines. We don't have to invent complicated systems to manage hunger. The body already knows how. It has hormones, signals, and feedback loops designed to tell us when enough is enough. We've simply drowned them out with ultra-processed foods and sugar-laden meals that confuse the system. Bringing protein back into the spotlight isn't introducing something foreign. It's returning to what was always meant to guide us. So let's reframe how we think about food once more. Every time you choose protein, you're not just feeding your body. You're calming your mind. You're giving yourself the gift of focus, stability, and peace with food. And weight loss, at its core, is not about suffering through endless hunger. It's about creating an environment inside your body and mind where balance feels natural. Protein helps you do exactly that. So, here's the reflection I want to leave you with. Hunger is not your enemy, it's your compass. When you learn to satisfy it with the right fuel that truly nourishes rather than teases, you stop fighting against yourself. And when you're no longer fighting yourself, the path to slimming down becomes less of a battle and more of a journey. Protein is the key that unlocks that journey. Let's look at something that rarely gets enough attention in conversations about weight loss. What exactly are you losing when the scale goes down? Too often, people celebrate any drop in weight without realizing that not all weight loss is created equal. If the pounds you're shedding are coming from muscle instead of fat, you're actually making your body weaker, slower, and more prone to gaining the weight back. This is where protein reveals its true genius. It acts as a guardian of your muscle, ensuring that the weight you lose is fat, not the very tissue that keeps you strong and metabolically active. Your muscle is more than just strength. It's your metabolic engine. Every pound of lean muscle burns calories around the clock, even while you're resting. That's why athletes can eat enormous amounts of food without putting on fat. Their muscle mass is constantly working for them. Now imagine losing that engine during a diet. You drop weight, but your metabolism slows down, leaving you vulnerable to regaining it all once you return to normal eating. It's a cruel cycle, and it's one of the main reasons most diets fail. Protein interrupts that cycle. By feeding your muscles what they need to repair and grow, it protects your metabolism even when calories are lower. Let's break this down on a deeper psychological and philosophical level. Weight loss is often approached with a short-term mindset: just lose the pounds, fit into the clothes, check the box. But if the process sacrifices your muscle, you've actually undermined your long-term health. You've traded strength for fragility. Protein teaches us a more sustainable philosophy. Don't just shrink the body, reshape it. Don't just think in terms of losing, think in terms of preserving what makes you powerful. That's a shift from punishment to empowerment. And here's something beautiful: when your body preserves muscle, your confidence grows. Not just because you look leaner, but because you feel stronger. That feeling changes how you carry yourself, how you engage with life, how you approach challenges. It's not simply about aesthetics, it's about identity. You're no longer someone who lost weight. You're someone who built resilience from the inside out. That's why protein-rich diets don't just transform the body, they transform the mind. Think of a simple example. Two people go on different weight loss journeys. One cuts calories drastically but skimps on protein. The scale drops quickly, but fatigue sets in, workouts feel harder, and the body looks smaller but softer. The other person focuses on protein while cutting back on empty carbs. Their scale might move more slowly, but their body composition changes. They lose fat while preserving muscle. Their metabolism stays strong, and they don't feel like they're constantly dragging themselves through the day. Which path sounds more sustainable? Which one leads to lasting confidence? The answer is clear. There's also a quiet truth here about aging. As we get older, muscle naturally declines, a process called sarcopenia. That's one reason older adults often complain of weakness, slower metabolism, and creeping weight gain, even if their diet hasn't changed much. Protein is one of the few tools we have to slow that decline. It's not just a strategy for weight loss, it's a strategy for longevity. By holding on to muscle, you're protecting your independence, your mobility, your vitality for decades to come. And that's something no quick, fixed diet can promise. On a philosophical level, this is about choosing a lifestyle that honors the body instead of punishing it. Too many weight loss plans demand sacrifice without giving back. Protein, by contrast, nourishes the very tissue that keeps you alive and vibrant. It's a reminder that the best strategies for health don't tear us down. They build us up. And isn't that the real goal? Not just to weigh less, but to be more capable, more energetic, more resilient. So when you think about slimming down, I want you to stop asking, how much weight can I lose? And start asking, what am I preserving along the way? Because if you protect your muscle, you protect your future. Protein is the simple, powerful way to do exactly that. The reflection I'll leave you with is this: don't aim to become smaller, aim to become stronger. The scale doesn't tell the whole story, but your energy, your resilience, and your strength do. Protein ensures that your weight loss is not just about subtraction, it's about transformation. Let's get practical for a moment. We've explored how protein revs up your metabolism, how it regulates your appetite, and how it protects your muscle so you're losing fat and not strength. But knowledge without action changes nothing. The question now is, how do you actually bring this into your daily life in a way that feels effortless, not like another diet chore? The truth is, eating more protein doesn't have to be complicated, expensive, or even time-consuming. It can be as simple as making small swaps that add up to big results over time. Think about breakfast, the meal that sets the tone for your entire day. Most people start their mornings with foods that are almost pure sugar: cereal, toast with jam, pastries, or even just coffee with cream and sugar. That kind of start spikes your blood sugar, sets you up for cravings, and leaves you hungry again in an hour or two. Now, imagine shifting that pattern by adding protein: scrambled eggs, Greek yogurt with nuts, cottage cheese with fruit, or even a protein smoothie blended with spinach and almond butter. You've turned your first meal into a stabilizer. Instead of chasing energy, you've created it. The same principle applies at lunch. Instead of a plate dominated by bread or refined carbs, build your meal around lean protein: grilled chicken, fish, lentils, or beans. Add vegetables for fiber, and suddenly you have a combination that satisfies without the crash. Even snacks, which often become mindless calorie traps, can be transformed. Swap chips or cookies for roasted chickpeas, a handful of almonds, or a boiled egg. These aren't drastic changes. They're subtle, sustainable choices that shift your body toward fat loss without making you feel like you're constantly giving something up. And here's the deeper insight: When you integrate protein naturally, you no longer have to rely on willpower. Willpower is like a muscle, it fatigues with overuse. If every day you're battling hunger, cravings, and the temptation of quick fixes, eventually that muscle gives out. But protein lowers the need for willpower by calming those signals before they even arise. It's the difference between constantly saying no and simply not feeling the urge to say yes in the first place. That's a psychological advantage that can't be overstated. What makes this even more powerful is how universal it is. Whether you're vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, or an omnivore, there are protein-rich options available to you. Lentils, quinoa, beans, tofu, tempeh, nuts, seeds, fish, poultry, eggs, the list goes on. It's not about forcing yourself into a rigid box. It's about looking at your current habits and asking, where can I add a little more protein here? That mindset shift, adding rather than restricting, changes the entire experience of eating. Instead of deprivation, you feel abundance. Let's not forget culture and tradition either. Many of the world's oldest cuisines already understood this principle long before modern science confirmed it. Think of Mediterranean diets rich in fish and legumes, or South Asian diets that make generous use of lentils and chickpeas. These aren't fads, they're timeless patterns of eating that kept generations healthy and strong. All we're doing is rediscovering wisdom that was always there. And beyond the mechanics of food, there's a deeper philosophy at play. We live in a society obsessed with extremes. Cut out all carbs, fast for days, detox with juices. These strategies might deliver quick results, but they rarely last because they fight against human nature. Protein doesn't fight human nature, it works with it. It respects the body's design and leverages it for your benefit. And that's why it feels sustainable, because it's not a trick, it's a partnership. Imagine the ripple effects if you start implementing this tomorrow. Your mornings feel clearer, your afternoons more focused, your evenings less plagued by cravings. Your energy levels rise, your confidence grows, and your relationship with food begins to heal. Over weeks and months, the scale reflects not just weight loss, but fat loss. Your clothes fit better, but more importantly, your body feels like it's finally working with you rather than against you. That's not just physical transformation, it's psychological liberation. So let me leave you with this. Every meal you eat is a choice, a fork in the road. You can choose foods that leave you hungrier, weaker, and more frustrated, or you can choose foods that satisfy, strengthen, and sustain you. Protein is one of the simplest, most powerful tools you already have at your disposal. The more you integrate it into your daily rhythm, the more you discover that slimming down doesn't have to be about restriction. It can be about nourishment. And here's the concise truth worth remembering: small, consistent shifts in what you add to your plate can completely transform your body, your energy, and your life. Protein isn't a trick, it's a tool. Use it wisely, and it will reshape not only your weight, but your future.